Good morning, Facebook tribe. Happy Monday, all of you handsome humans. And I'm sitting here by myself at the moment. Yesenia. Good morning, Yesenia. Hey, where do you live right now, Yesenia? Ron Patton, Victor. Nice. Look at all these handsome humans. Well, good morning. Happy Monday. It's time to wake up and put some pants on. Right? This is kind of an important one. So, everybody give me a thumbs up. Tell me if you got your pants on. Or are you hiding out with your pajamas on? Have you brushed your teeth? Hmm? Or have you completely collapsed into some secret, shameful, slothful state of being? Well, it's time to reclaim the temple, people, because it's Monday. All right. And believe it or not, before we know it, we're going to be doing this on Friday. And you're going to either be excited and fulfilled and advanced, or we will all be depressed and anxious and depressed and just unhappy. So today is that day where we get to launch into some intentional, powerful structure, the rebar and the cement of our lives. And this is a little talk about goal setting and structure. Okay, so the intentional purpose aligned growth is not optional for me, what I discovered in my life. Because for somebody who I deal with anxiety, I deal with depression, I deal with some character flaws that are just inherent in my core character of the way I move through the world. My lifestyle is the bumpers that allow me to be successful, and that lifestyle includes connecting with good people. Involves adhering and recommitting to my practices, which keep me physically, spiritually, mentally, professionally on the golden path, on that sacred path, which allows me to continually grow and continually serve. If I surrendered all those practices, then you would watch me in within a week go into this tailspin of anxiety and depression and dysfunction. So, this is a very important conversation for me, and it's particularly relevant right now for those of us who are, well, we're deep in the dark woods of chaos right now, and so some of this protocol is going to be instrumental to all of us who are doing those things. Okay, so, I just lost my. Are we still on? Did I lose everybody? Hold on. Okay, Julie, thank you for my voice. Thank you for that acknowledgement. It's good to hear it. Sarah, good morning. Julie, good morning. Jason, yay. All right. So here's the deal. We are going to be exploring a couple of the key things about how to be skillful and intentional and recognize that the way we engage with this experience is really an application of our spiritual practice. This is who we are, and when we make the brave, bold, purposeful decisions, we that change the world. I mean, we're actually changing the fabric of reality. When I choose to wake up and connect with people, I choose to wake up and make the bed. Well, actually, my wife makes the bed, so. But I put pants on. We have a division of labor in my house, and my bed making is not up to my wife's standards. So I allow her to do those things, so she doesn't complain about it. However, when we're making those intentional choices, then we are creating the fabric of reality. It's a really, really important dynamic. And so here are some of the best practices that I have found. And again, I'm going to encourage you to grab a piece of paper and write some of these things down, because when we write things down, we take ideas and intentions and energy and we actually give birth to them. We, by the act of taking an idea and writing it into a symbol, which is kind of a sacred thing, right? It's almost like casting a spell, which is why they call it spelling, because it takes an idea and puts it into reality. That's the written word. It's a really powerful dynamic. So we're gonna go over some best practices about some goal setting things, and there'll be two big components to this. The first one is, what are your categories? And my wife and I, we went through this. We call this the war board behind me, and this is our master sort of spell book that we can share collectively, and it allows us to navigate and guide our journey through the giant dark woods of the mall, right? So, where are you? Right? You are here. Where do you want to go? And then, what do you need to do, and who do you need to be to get there? So that's our big wall, our mall map, right? So categories, and obviously you see big categories in the back there. There's my three big professional expressions, which are Wolf Tribe, Valor, Resiliency, and King of the Four Houses, my men's group. So I have categories underneath all of those things I'm committed to doing, timelines, priorities, and whatnot. So categories are very important, and you can choose whatever lens makes sense for you in terms of those categories: mental, physical, spiritual. Come up with some alliterative thing that makes sense for you, or feel free to take mine, which is how I have sort of circled the wagons around the primary components of how I view the world, and that's with that king of the four houses, ladies, queen of the four houses. Those are the four categories that define the big buckets of behavior or priorities that we need as a species. And so the king or the queen is the first one, and that's about business. It's about expression, right? So that's my first goal setting bucket. My second one is the warrior. It's about fitness. Really, really important for me. Vital. The third one is the magician, which is about mastery or spiritual practice. And the last one is the lover, which is about relationships. And that's either the people, I guess if you're lucky enough that you're quarantined with people you love, or just with people in general. And I really hope it's not somebody it's hard to be with, or God forbid, unsafe. But that lover category is that fourth one in terms of what I believe are the four pillars of a holistically successful, sustainable life. So I look at what are my goals in each one of those categories. Okay, and again, write them down. I write them down on a piece of paper. I update these regularly. So for me, king, warrior, magician, lover, ladies, queen, warrior, magician, lover. And then we're going to drill down into some specifics, because if you are just throwing intentions out into the world, then it doesn't really engage with the engine of the universe. Like, you have to find the transmission. You got to get power to the wheels, power to the ground. And so to do that, I believe the transmission, how we engage that power, that engine of the universe, is through setting some skillful and structured goal setting. And there's, again, lots of ways to do this. Most of you guys have heard of SMART goals. So SMART goals are what I want to go with you guys today. And even if you're really familiar, don't roll your eyes. I know it's kind of a classic leadership thing. It's a powerful exercise. So bear with me if you know what SMART goals are, and you know that you should be doing this. Okay. So you got categories, whatever those are. I'd recommend that maybe you do it with King, Warrior, Magician, Lover today. Um, and then we're going to do SMART goals. And SMART is an acronym, SMART. So please write those down on a sheet of paper. Russell, oh boy, it's so good to see you, brother. Brett, good morning. Jerry, John, yes, he's the storytelling king. John is a form of genius I just discovered. Uh, my jujitsu coach, Brett, acknowledged genius. So, all right, here we're doing SMART goals. So on your piece of paper, write down SMART. It's an acronym, and this will allow you to get some traction on the things that you're desiring. So here we go. S. S stands for specific. It's not enough just to say, I'm going to get in shape. Yeah, no, you're not. You're going to eventually drift and you're going to get distracted and you are going to get diffused because your brain has nothing to hunt when it just says, let's go hunt. You need to hunt a specific thing. And then your reticular activating system, your predator, um, you know, nervous system comes online and you start actually manifesting and seeing the things you want. So get specific. S is specific, right? Um, so it's not just enough to say you want to get in shape. We need to be able to talk about what it is that means to you. Okay, and which leads us to the next category, which is measurable. So M is measurable. And if you can't measure something, then you have no hope of managing it. So the measurable would be, in my, I'm doing that what I call the 300 workout, the prison workout, the quarantine workout, and for me that's 100, 100 push-ups every day, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats or lunges. I think we're on day 5 today, and I'm tired. No doubt. I mean, I can feel it. My legs are tired. My chest is tired. However, um, and one of my measurements for being in shape is, what is it? What does my core feel like? And of course, what do I look like naked? Anyway, those are measurables. Okay, so I'm kind of teasing a little bit, but it's true also. Okay, so you should be able to have a specific thing you're committed to on your goal setting. You should be able to manage that. So again, set down some specifics on those things. Okay. A, in classic SMART acronym, A is achievable, which I think is redundant because there's already an R for realistic. So I have switched out a more powerful A, which is accountable. And accountability is the gold standard of goal setting success. Okay, so A is accountable. We're not designed to do things alone. We're not designed to operate in a vacuum. We are not a lone wolf solo predator. We're inherently a pack animal. We're a tribe species. Accountability is the way that we um, follow through on our goals, right? And ideally, like I talked about yesterday, they are collaborative, they're reciprocal, they're transactional, there's all those things. But at the very least, when you're talking about goal setting, have somebody hold you accountable. Ideally, that's somebody who's involved in your journey, right? Even ideally your project that you're working on. So, for example, my little Folsom quarantine here, we're doing that 300 workout together. We're holding each other accountable. And we will always psychologically do more for others than we will do for ourselves. It's a really, really important dynamic. So, accountability is clutch. Go public with your goals, whatever they are. And sometimes the goals are about, minimizing some of our dysfunction, but a lot of times it's about, you know, achieving things. And for the guys who never been to my house, I wanted to show you my little tame crow who comes in. There she is, shameless beggar. So those are my two wisdom animals. Um, that's Rowena the crow, And that's my dog. All right. So we have S, we have M, we have A, um, and we have R. Is it realistic? So I didn't say that I'm going to run a marathon, by the end of this week. I didn't say that I'm going to be able to do 1,000 push-ups in a day. That would be unrealistic. And psychologically, when we set goals that we fail at, it undermines our sense of efficacy and our sense of confidence. So set realistic goals, right? They should be stretch goals. And that might be another thing to add on to the S of SMART. So they would be specific and stretch. It's a good one. Realistic. Make sure that your goals are realistic, okay? Because when we are successful, it makes us feel confident, and that gives us momentum, and that's a self-perpetuating wheel. So R is realistic. All right, and here's the most important one. Well, they're all important. T stands for time bound. Okay, so when we just have an open-ended project, our brain, which doesn't really quite grasp the whole concept of time, just kind of checks out. And the reality is, when we start dealing with the maps or the structure of time, it puts some boundaries on projects, and it seems to radically facilitate our success. So, for example, when I'm just saying, "Hey, I'm going to read all these books, or I'm going to have this something done by the end of this year," right? Or at some point in the future, it doesn't really do anything as opposed to saying at the end of this week or at the end of this month, I'm going to have this specific thing done. So guys, put it on the calendar. This is one of the big secrets. And my good business consultant and very also good friend, Clark Bautier, he uses the example of if you just ask somebody, "Hey, send me your reading list, your top 5 favorite books," and most of you would go, "Okay, cool." You'd agree with that immediately. Like, yeah, there's no time frame on that, so of course I'm going to say yes to it. But now, if you said, "Can we have a Zoom call at 2 o'clock on Wednesday to discuss the reading list?" Now all of a sudden, people will not just be so open about saying yes to something. They'll actually go, "Ooh, you just got real with that. So before I say yes, let me check my calendar." So the importance of this is you need to put yourself on your calendar, because when you set a meeting or you set a deadline or you set something for other people, you show up, or at least you'll feel bad if you don't. The same thing is true with yourself. The most important thing you can do is start recognizing that you are where your world starts. And so put yourself on your calendar. When are you going to work out? When are you going to write? When are you going to read? When are you going to do the things you need to do? And so that's the time-bound function of the SMART goals. Does that make sense to everybody? Give me a little thumbs up, or ask a question if you need to. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. We are about ready to go Zoom call with this. I'm actually thinking about it tomorrow, running a big Zoom call, because right now there's only 14 of us experiencing this together. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, and wouldn't it be great to be able to see everybody's face? And my guess is, if we go Zoom call, I bet you all be putting some clothes on, putting some pants on. You might even comb your hair. So I'll be posting a Zoom link, and tomorrow we're going to be doing this on Zoom. Huh! EJ, my mighty ally and brother. Okay, last thing, and then we're going to sign off so you can go and enact some of these best practices. I want to share with you the difference between legitimate and illegitimate suffering. And this is another magical tidbit that I got from Mr. Brett Keir, one of my wisdom council advisors. Buddhist terminology, and really, really brilliant. The legitimate suffering is just inherent in the human condition. No matter what, there's going to be suffering. Uh, Joints hurt. There's going to be some of us who get sick. We're going to get older. We're going to struggle with things. That's inherent in the human condition. Uh, and because we understand our sense of self and we understand time, there's going to be some anxiety, right, in the future. That's part of just being blessed and cursed with this hardware. We also are going to have some regrets and depression about the past, and same thing, it just comes with with being a human, right? So that's legitimate suffering, and all we can really do is accept that, and we can learn to um, shoulder our burdens gracefully. However, there's also illegitimate suffering, and this is something that we should be incredibly ferocious and vigilant about exploring and weeding out. So, illegitimate suffering is not just inherent in our existence, it isn't just provided by the universe. Illegitimate suffering is created by us. And it's all of our crappy habits, it's all of our um, self sabotage, it's all of the dysfunctional people and projects and practices that we have that don't serve us anymore. It's watching bad TV, it's eating bad food, it's hanging out with bad people. Um, and there's enough legitimate suffering in the human condition without layering on a huge toxic burden of illegitimate suffering. So that's a really powerful lens to look at some of the world because if it's self created and self imposed suffering, you could do something about it. And so, all of this conversation today about setting goals and being intentional and claiming the divinity of choice and free will, boy, target some of that illegitimate suffering that we're saddling ourselves with. And that's a great thing to start um, moving some of those maybe unexplored habits into some more healthy practices. And it's Monday, guys. Great day to start this journey. So I'll be sending out a Zoom link, and I'll either do that on a public page or we can message each other. However, that's oh, Tanya's going to help me do this. All right, Max, good to see you. Bonnie Sue, naked and afraid. Okay. All right, y'all. Happy Monday. Put some pants on, and see you tomorrow.